Today I'm here to talk about the hunters that will appear in the second half of The Walking Dead Season 4. So let's get started. It's 6 hunters that was in the comic book. In the first hunter name is Chris. Second hunter name is female. She's a female. Thresher, if I said the name correctly. Next, the third, Albert. The fourth, David. The fifth, Greg. And the sixth, Charlie. So it's 6 hunters in that group, and these hunters are very dangerous. I mean, dangerous to the max. These people will eat another human being without hesitation. You want to know the killing part about this? They will leave these human beings alive while they're cutting off their flesh and eating them. Now, when you catch a cannibal human, eating another human while they're still alive and they're in pain, they're screaming saying, "Help me, stop, please stop this." And they're still cutting their flesh off and eating them and laughing at them, then that means those people who's doing this that means the people who are doing this are getting sensation and pleasure out of doing this. That's how sick these fucking people is. They're sick. Like I say, it's 6 group, it's 6 members. Now talk about Chris. Chris is the leader. He's the leader for the hunters. And for some of you who don't know, as I just mentioned, the hunters is a group of people who engage in cannibalism, who eat other human beings. So back to Chris, the leader of the group. Chris is very mental in the head. He's sick. And I mean mentally. He's sick in the fucking head. And let me talk about Chris. It got to a point where Chris came up with his own strategy on how to catch human beings. Because Chris told Rick, when he talked to Rick in the comic book, he told Rick hunting animals is a waste of time. And so let me break down the strategy of Chris' strategy on how he hunts down human beings. Now, if Chris and his group see a big group of human beings walking past them, they won't try nothing, because you want to know why? It's a big group, so therefore that group outnumber their group. So of course he's not going to try to fool with them. But now he goes the other part. If Chris catches a small group of people or a small group of isolation people, then his group will attack them. Now, let's talk about some of the comic book. Now, in the comic book, remember what I just said. Chris and his group will not attack a big group of people if those people outnumber his group. But now, it gets to a point. Now, even in the Walking Dead TV show, it's been 2 years that has almost passed in the Walking Dead TV show. So the human population is looking pretty bad. The zombie population definitely outweighs the human population, even in the comic book, in the Walking Dead TV show. Humans is on the verge of extinction in the Walking Dead. And it gets to a point where Chris and his group realizes there isn't really human beings left. So therefore they get hungry. So once they encounter Rick group, they try to attack them. Now remember what I just said. Chris and his group don't attack large groups. You can tell they got desperate. You can tell Chris got desperate because he tries to attack Rick and his group when it's clearly, and he know he was outnumbered. So let me talk about how many people Rick had in his group. You had Rick, Carl, Michonne, Maggie, Glenn, Andrea, Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene. That's but Daryl don't count. You wouldn't really useful. That's 9 fucking people. The hunters have 6 members in their group. Yeah, so those outnumbered by 2. But still, these was 9 people who damn near had full experience when it comes to surviving. And he got that desperate where he tried to attack them, because that's how hungry they got, because they wasn't seeing any human life anymore. And like I say, Chris is so sick I'm gonna give you a origin backstory on how the Hunters was born. Remember what I just said? 6 members in that group. Each of those 6 members had children. When Chris was talking to Rick, he told Rick it got so bad where all of them ate their own fucking children. They ate them. They consumed their own children, their kids, their flesh, their blood. They ate they ate them in order to survive. And excuse me for my cursing, but this motherfucker tried to compare his situation and he tried to justify his means by telling Rick, well, you know what? My situation is just like a bear, for example, saying how a bear gets so hungry and that bear will go into starvation until a bear would eat their own children that they just had. And then he says, if they don't, otherwise they'll starve and die. But then, therefore, I can say that Chris is not, I wouldn't call him evil, because an evil person don't show remorse. When Chris was telling Rick about his kids and the rest of the members that ate their kids, he showed some remorse to it. Because the way he looked at Rick, you can see his face expression. He showed remorse. But the only thing that did for them is once they crossed that line of eating their own kids, it opened up door for them to better eat other humans without any hesitation, no remorse, no nothing. And I know what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Well, maybe Chris' situation is kind of like the same about the animal situation when the animals eat their own kids themselves or their own babies that they just have. Yeah, it's almost the same, but remember what I just said. Chris told Rick they don't like to go hunting because hunting is a waste of time. So that right there is telling you that they got used to consuming human beings. They got so used to it, they love the taste of the human beings. They don't want to taste nothing else but human beings. When you don't want to go hunt to survive, then that's bad. You rather hunt humans than hunt animals. And like I say, once they ate their kids, they crossed that line. And that right there, that step by them doing that allowed them to become hunters, people who engage in eating human beings, cannibalism. That's what allowed them to do that. So these people are sick, they're dangerous. And like I say, once Rick and his group, I'm talking about the TV series, once Rick and his group get to that Terminus Sanctuary Station, whatever it is, ain't no doubt in my mind, if they keep the same, if they don't change the name for the Hunters, if they keep Chris, Thresher, Albert, David, Greg, and Charlie, ain't no doubt in my mind we're going to see Chris probably somewhere in the woods looking at Rick and them. Because that's what happened because that's how they found Rick, because they had found, originally they found Rick in the woods, but then they end up following them to a preacher house, and the preacher name is Gabriel. He's a preacher. And you can see how they were following them and they just kept spying on them, trying their best to get them to come outside when they know they was outnumbered. Like I say, these people was desperate. And I remember an old saying in the article, those who survive will result in cannibalism. And when that article said that, that stood out to me, because that tells you when you're living in a civilization that's not right and there's not a lot of options, those, like I say, those who survive will result in cannibalism. And The Walking Dead is clearly that. But that don't mean that a person shouldn't have no moral codes, even though morals don't exist in a zombie apocalypse anymore. I mean, if the government doesn't exist, if the law doesn't exist, why in the hell would morals exist in a zombie apocalypse? So you can tell that Rick and his group have morals because they choose not to eat human beings. They choose to go establish their food and go hunt for animals and stuff. But these people right here, don't have morals. The hunters don't have morals. So therefore, they're dangerous. There's no reasoning. You can't even reason with them. They're going to eat you. And I think they will make a great addition to the TV show. So, like I say, Chris is the leader. So if they keep the same name for him in the TV show, definitely be looking out for Chris. Chris is dangerous. His whole group is dangerous. They some dangerous people, and that's somebody you wouldn't want to be around because, like I say, they eat human beings. And I hope I touched on everything. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. And also the other members in the group didn't really have no character development. Chris was the only one that really was doing the most talking, so therefore you got a lot of dialogue. You got a lot of origin backstory from Chris. The rest of the other 5 members didn't really. They said stuff here and there, but you didn't get no major character development from them. So I hope you guys enjoy my Hunters review video. Not the Hunter. I'm just breaking down their characterization, or at least Chris breaking down the characterization. So have a nice day. Remember to thumbs up the video if you enjoy my quick discussion videos, and rate and subscribe. Have a nice day. Peace.